specifically for the transportation.
is out of 5 at 97.5 Glory FM. Welcome once again to the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Hi, everyone. Mike Wofford with you here on this Saturday morning, talking high school, college, and pro sports on the local scene until 10 o'clock. We got a lot in store for you this morning. We'll talk about the high school football games from last night. Also looking ahead to the upcoming high school football state playoffs. We'll talk a little fishing, hopefully, with Brandon Whitesides. Also, we'll talk college football with Dave Cohen, looking ahead to our ball game this evening with Georgia State and Georgia Southern. Also, we'll talk NFL football. The Atlanta Falcons, as they are back in action tomorrow night as they take on the San Francisco 49ers. We'll talk with our NFL expert, Harper LaBelle, right here on 97.5 Glory FM. There are lots of ways to follow us here on 97.5 Glory FM with the Saturday Morning Sports Show live every Saturday morning on 97.5 FM, also online at WGTJradio.com. We're streaming on the TuneIn Radio app, Simple Radio app, and the Radio Garden app. And at home on your Amazon Echo, you can say enable the skill 97.5 Glory FM. You can always say play 97.5 Glory FM, but to avoid those annoying TuneIn ads, say enable the skill 97.5 Glory FM. That way you'll hear exactly what's going on here behind the scenes, behind the microphone here at your family radio station, 97.5 Glory FM, your home for North Georgia sports. And we're down to the last 2 weeks of the regular season of the high school football scene on the public school side, the private school side, and the GIAA. 1 week left of the regular season before we start the upcoming state playoffs. And today there's also state playoff action continuing locally. Hey, a great place to go today would be locally. North Hall is celebrating the state playoffs with the state volleyball second round, the Sweet 16 round today, as the Lady Trojans are at home against the Troop Tigers today. Now, if you never have seen high school volleyball, this is a great sport to watch. It is high energy, and you see some outstanding athletes out there playing high school volleyball. It takes about probably an hour and a half, maybe most of your time, and you'll enjoy the time there if you get a chance to see high school volleyball this afternoon. North Hall and Cherokee Bluff winning their opening round matches back on, I think it was Wednesday. And the thing about it is that it's high pace, as I mentioned before. They play sets, sort of like in tennis. You win 2 or 3 sets, you advance on to the next round of the state playoffs. Also coming up next week, the high school state softball playoffs continue. We have several teams locally advancing into the second round of the state playoffs. Of course, the powerhouse program that everybody looks at, Beaufort, in the Class 6A state playoffs. They routed Colquitt County earlier in the week, and they're back in the state second round coming up next week at home there down in Beaufort. While in Class AAA play, you had North Hall, Cherokee Bluff, Lumpkin County, Dawson County, and Jefferson all advancing to the next round of the Class AAA state playoffs. High school football action from last night. You heard it here on 97.5 Glory FM. North Hall now just 1 win away from capturing their second straight Region 6 AAA crown. They are the number 1 team in the state in Class AAA according to the Georgia High School Association Power Rankings. And North Hall last night with convincing 35-12 victory over Lumpkin County. I'll tell you about the entire Region 6 AAA standings later on the show this morning and talk about the upcoming 2 weeks left on the regular season schedule. And what's interesting this year, I got it confirmed last night, is that there's going to be an off week between the last week of the regular season and the first week of the state playoffs. So we may not have any programming that weekend at all when it comes to sports because of this off week. So the last game of the regular season is on October 31st, earliest it has ever ended, and that's on Halloween night. Then they're going to take November 7th, that weekend off, and resume play with the first round of the state playoffs on November 14th. That pushes everything back to make room for the state playoffs for the championship at Mercedes-Benz Stadium coming up on December 15th, 16th, and 17th. And that takes place there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in Atlanta. And also, we just found out this week, we're going to be bringing you, as always, the FCA East-West All-Star Football Classic here locally. It takes place at Cherokee Bluff on December the 11th. And we'll have that for you right here on 97.5 Glory FM. And, of course, we start getting this high school basketball coverage is 1 month away. The high school basketball season begins 3 weeks from today on November the 8th will be the opening games of the 2025-2026 high school basketball schedule. And Joe Gailey and I'll be with you every Tuesday and Friday during the regular season and then into the state playoffs. And the championship round of the Lanierland tournament will also be right here on 97.5 Glory FM this year for Chestatee High. And it takes place on Tuesday, December 23rd. It's 2 days before Christmas. We'll have the championship of the Lanierland tournament right here on 97.5 Glory FM. Going back to last night and the high school football games around the area in Class AAA play, I mentioned in Region 6 that it was North Hall over Lumpkin County 35-12. Also last night it was Dawson County with a big win over Chestatee, winning 42-7 the final. In that game, it was Greater Atlanta Christian over White County, 40-14, and Pickens, they run past Johnson 49-3. All the teams in Region 8 AAA had the evening off last night, as it was East Hall, West Hall, Cherokee Bluff, Jefferson, all with a night off last night. They resume play next week, and our broadcast game of the week features a Region 8 AAA game next week from Cherokee Bluff, as it will be the Bears taking on the Jefferson Dragons in a big ball game. The Georgia High School Association has Jefferson as the number 2 team in the state behind North Hall in the power rankings going into next week's ball game, and a really pivotal game for Coach Tommy Jones and his Bears. Way I look at it, they had to win one of the last 2 games to clinch a playoff berth as the number 4 team in Region 8 AAA after they failed to both Oconee County and Monroe area. So if they go in the ball game next week, that'd be a huge win for the Bears. A tough loss for the Jefferson Dragons, and we'll have the play-by-play for you next Friday night here on 97.5 Glory FM, starting at 7:30. And the countdown to kickoff begins with the Long Street Cafe pregame show at 7:05 with Joe Gailey, Gary Glenn, and I here on 97.5 Glory FM. Also last night, games around the area, as you heard from Coach Josh Emmett last night on the final score, it was Gainesville no problem at all with Chattahoochee as they roll past that team 55-3 the final score. And the Elephants now setting up a region championship. They have just one game left on the regular season schedule because they are off the last week of the regular season because of a odd number of teams in the region. They'll have the night off on October 31st, so they'll have 2 weeks off between the last game of the regular season and the first game of the state playoffs. Gainesville has clinched a playoff berth, and they're now playing for the region championship as they'll play the Roswell Hornets at City Park Stadium, Bobby Groom Field on Friday. If Gainesville will win, they will be the region champions and the number 1 seed going into the state playoffs. Also last night in Class Quad A play, it was Flyer Branch with a win over Walnut Grove. You heard from John Thompson last night, the assistant coach for the team, as they won their ball game last night, 49-28 the final score of that one, 49-28 with the Falcons winning. And also last night over in Forsyth County, it was East Forsyth falling to Eastside with the Eagles winning 42-7 over the Broncos last night. And now the big thing is who's going to finish number 2, and really number 2, 3, and 4 in Region 8 Quad A with 2 weeks left in the regular season schedule. Next week, Flyer Branch is at home against North Oconee. And I think I got it right, is that North Oconee has won 46 consecutive regular season games. They are the defending state champions, and they are a machine. They're like Buford over at North Oconee in Class Quad A action. And also last night you heard from Coach Lee Coleman of Lakeview Academy. They're going to the state playoffs in the GIAA, and they'll be playing on October 31st, the first round of the GIAA state playoffs. And last night they were victorious on the road at Athens Christian. First time that Lakeview Academy had ever beaten Athens Christian down in Athens, and they won that ball game last night. So congratulations to the Lions of Lakeview Academy. And also it was George Walton Academy over Riverside Prep. The Bulldogs there at George Walton. They'll be the number 1 team, it looks like right now, in Region 4 AAA Quad A. And I mentioned last night with talking with Lee Coleman, trying to educate you on what goes on in the GIAA. They play more geographically in the GIAA compared to the regions like they are in the classifications in the GHSA. And Lakeview Academy plays in what they call 4 AAA Quad A, but they're the only team that's in AAA because the nearest competitor, the nearest school that's in AAA is down in the Macon area. So they play the other schools here in the local area, then they're seated in the state playoffs. And right now, they are trying their best with one game left of the regular season schedule to play a home game on October 31st. And we'll find out more details about that as they wrap up the regular season next week at Loganville Christian. We can tell I'm going to get my voice going here this morning, and we'll talk a lot more about local sports here on 97.5 Glory FM and more of the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM with a live video stream on YouTube. Make sure you join us on YouTube at Team Glory Sports.
If you need on-time expert plumbing service, Conditioned Air Systems is here for you. Our plumbers deliver the highest quality service in North Georgia 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. We've been North Georgia's source for elite residential and commercial services since 1983. Our licensed plumbers offer services for installation and repairs of pipes, water heaters, septic lines, and sump pumps. Choose Conditioned Air Systems for quality service and unmatched knowledge for your plumbing needs.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Buford, Houston, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings. And one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/black and blue.
As an electric cooperative, Jackson EMC must always have an eye on the future, exploring the newest innovations taking place in every area of our business. Ideas that lead to a better use of resources and improved ways of conducting business. Automated switch technology, iPads in the field, and internal networking that enable us to pinpoint outages, access complex mapping, and provide faster response times. Jackson EMC, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow.
This is Matt Nix, president of Duplicating Products. Our local business has served Northeast Georgia with trusted office equipment and local service support for over 50 years. We're proud to support high school football and proud to help businesses stay up and running with fast personal service. As the region's largest independent Canon, Ricoh, and HP dealer, we offer the industry's best equipment backed by real local people. When your copier or printer goes down, we're there fast. Visit duplicatingproducts.com. We're local and ready to serve you.
And back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM, 18 minutes now past 9 o'clock. Mike Wofford with you every Saturday morning between 9 and 10 as we bring you high school, college, and pro sports here on the local scene. Hey, by the way, if you're in the local area there, my landlord here at the radio station is holding a yard sale in our parking lot here at 1716 Cleveland Highway. You want to pick up some great items. There's a yard sale taking place in the parking lot here at WGTJ. We're at 1716 Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, right across the street from Riverbend Baptist Church, right next door to Larry Daniels Music at the intersection of Meadowlark Lane and Cleveland Highway. And we're at 1716 Cleveland Highway. The yard sale goes on until 2 p.m. this afternoon. I know that my landlord is going to have some great items for you there. And so tell them you heard about it right here on 97.5 Glory FM. Talk about high school football action from last night, as you heard here on 97.5 Glory FM. North Hall winning by a score of 35-12 over one of their big rivals in Lumpkin County. And North Hall now undefeated at 8-0. They are 5-0 in Region 6 AAA play. They will go for the region championship next week, and they will win that as they play the Johnson Knights down at the Dungeon at Billy Ellis Memorial Stadium. And no disrespect at all to Coach Dominic Odom and his Johnson Knights, but they have had a lot of trouble scoring points. They give up a lot of points each week, and they are winless on the season. They are 0-8 and 0-5 in region play. North Hall will capture the region championship, and they will still be the number one seed in the upcoming state playoffs. But now it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the power rankings and, of course, what happens to the game with Jefferson coming up next Friday. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on. Let's hear some of the highlights from last night's ball games. You heard the play-by-play with Joe Gailey. As North Hall got the ball started off, they had a 3-and-out. The defense of Lumpkin County just stymied North Hall in their opening possession. A rare thing for the Trojans to go 3-and-out on their first drive. But then Lumpkin County got the football and drove it downfield and thought they were going to score the opening score of the ball game and had an interception in the corner of the end zone, which spoiled that drive. The North Hall got the ball on the 20-yard line. They drove 80 yards in 18 plays the way I had it counted, went 8 minutes off the clock, and ended up scoring on this play here.
in there in the blocking back. They're going to give it to Parker. Parker busts across. Well, they say touchdown, Trojans.
And that was the first score of the ball game for North Hall. Second drive for the Indians last night ended in another turnover as they fumbled the football. North Hall got it back and went downfield with this drive, scoring on this play.
Cable on the far side split out. Sleeman looking to pass, another short pass right in there to Kemp. Kemp at the 30, the 25, the 20, 15, 10, trying to beat the guy to the corner. He does. Touchdown, Trojans.
And North Hall had a couple of key injuries last night. One of their offensive linemen was injured, and he was the backup to Mason McGill, who's also injured with a high ankle sprain. And this line, in fact, went down the first play of the ball game with a high ankle sprain. And then later in the ball game, Ty Kemp went down with a high ankle sprain. And so they're going to miss some players for the rest of the regular season. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out for North Hall. They jumped out that 14-0. All this coming, by the way, in the second quarter. The first quarter was scoreless because of that long 8-minute drive by the Trojans. Lumpkin County only had the ball for one drive there in the first quarter that ended in that interception. And North Hall had it for two possessions going into the second quarter, scoring on those two drives you just heard about. They're up 14-0 at time, and then the Trojans get the ball back again, scoring again.
Sleeman looking to pass, rolls out the far side, throwing it down the middle, got a man, caught it, touchdown Trojans, holy mackerel, wide tumbling, I believe, caught it at the one and stepped into the end zone.
That was Wyatt filling in for the injured Ty Kemp at that point, and he got the touchdown reception, 21-0 Trojans at that time. But you got to look always at Noah Matthews of Lumpkin County. He rushed the football for over 100 yards once again last night. He is the third leading rusher in the state of Georgia in all classifications and the leading rusher in Class AAA. And he had a big run for the Indians there in the second quarter.
And off to Nolan. Matthews across the 40, 35, big burst, 30, 25, 20. Somebody's got to catch him, 10-5, touchdown Indians.
They missed the PAT after a 5-yard penalty, making it 28-6, making it 21-6 at the time. And North Hall had one more possession to score before halftime.
Four wide out. Sleeman back to pass. Throws it complete over to Carlson at the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, corner touchdown.
In the ball game last night, Alex Sleeman, another outstanding game for him. He has passed over 2,000 yards so far this season, and he is averaging about 75% completion with his passes, and did it last night. I think I remember right from Jody Kinney, they completed 25 of 35 passes from last night. That's just over 70% of his passes being completed. For Lumpkin County, Noah Matthews did all the running basically for the Indians last night, and they had a little bit of trouble throwing the football last night from Mason Hester, but they had an opportunity at the time, but North Hall's defense just shut them down really after that first drive of the ball game, which ended in that interception, and that thing just sort of changed things after that point as North Hall was able to stop Lumpkin County on their first drive of the second half, and they go on for the 35-12 victory over the Indians. Now, here are the standings right now with 2 weeks left in the regular season schedule. North Hall is undefeated. They're 5-0 in region play. Right now, Pickens is in second place at 4-1, tied with Greater Atlanta Christian 4-1. Now, Greater Atlanta Christian will not play in the public school championship in the state playoffs in Class AAA. They will be involved in their own private school championship, which has all the private schools in Class A, AA, and AAA playing for the state crown. So the teams, the region will not have a representative in the state playoffs the way the brackets work out with GAC spot in the standings. Then right now in fourth place is Lumpkin County. They are 3-2 in region play. Fourth place now, the victory last night over Chestatee is Dawson County. They're at 2-3. You have Chestatee and White County at 1-4, and then Johnson is at 0-5 with 2 weeks left of the regular season schedule. So very interesting games coming up next Friday night. North Hall will be at Johnson at the Dungeon at Billy Ellis Memorial Stadium. The Trojans will win that ball game, but you have White County playing at Chestatee, an important ball game for those two teams. They'll play at Chestatee High coming up next Friday night. White County playing at Chestatee. You can see that game on YouTube at War Eagle TV. Our producer here at the studio, Zach Roach, he's a play-by-play voice of War Eagle TV. There you get a chance to watch that game next Friday night on YouTube on War Eagle TV with the Chestatee War Eagles taking on the White County Warriors with kickoff at 7:30 p.m. Also coming up next Friday night in the region, you'll have Dawson County playing at Lumpkin County. Now, that one right there, if the Tigers were to win, they would be tied with Lumpkin County with 1 week left in the regular season schedule. And then looking ahead to October 31st, it's Pickens playing at Lumpkin County and Dawson County playing host to North Hall in our last regular season broadcast here on 97.5 Glory FM. So J-Bo Shaw's team has an outside chance of making it into the state playoffs as the number 4 seed. Lumpkin County, if they can win the game against Pickens on October 31st, they can move up to number 3. And we'll see what happens with Greater Atlanta Christian, if they'll finish number 2 or number 3. But if North Hall right now is going to win the region championship, the best the Spartans and GAC could do is finish second, but they could finish third. All depends on what happens with Pickens and with, in fact, Pickens plays GAC Friday night. That's going to be a big ball game between the Dragons and the Spartans. And then Pickens goes to Dahlonega to take on Lumpkin County in 2 weeks there on October 31st. And so next week you have North Hall at Johnson. You have Dawson County at Lumpkin County. You have White County playing at Chestatee. Pickens taking on Greater Atlanta Christian in that region. Last night, as I mentioned, all the teams in Region AAA had the evening off. That means that West Hall, East Hall, and Cherokee Bluff did not play last night, and so they get ready for the last 2 weeks of the regular season in that region. Right now, Jefferson's in first place. You have Oconee County and Monroe area right there fighting for second place. Then in fourth place is Cherokee Bluff. The Bears lost games earlier this season to both Oconee County and to Monroe area. And next Friday here on 97.5 Glory FM, we'll bring you the game between Jefferson and Cherokee Bluff in the home of the Bears next Friday night, starting with the Longstreet Cafe pregame show at 7:05. Kickoff will be at 7:30. Then West Hall plays host to East Hall next week, and that one will be for the number 5 spot in the region right now. Coach Nagy Lyons, a team from West Hall, they won 2 games so far this year, none in region play. It's been a disappointing year when it comes to region games for Coach Matt Turner's Vikings. So that's going to be a big crosstown matchup next week there at the Hot Gates of Spartan Field as West Hall plays host to East Hall next Friday night. And the other game, of course, features Monroe area taking on Oconee County. I mentioned next Friday night, it's Roswell taking on Gainesville. The Red Elephants looking for the Region 7 Quint A championship as they'll play at City Park Stadium, Bobby Groom Field. Last night in Region 8 Quint A action, big win last night for Jackson County. They defeat Wandabara, and right now they'll play for a region championship with Habersham Central. And Jackson County has never won a region championship in the, I think it's 46 years they've been playing football there at Jackson County. So that'd be something huge for the Panthers, is they only have a couple years left before they are split up with the new Houston High that takes place in a couple of years. So it would be a big thing for the Panthers of Jackson County to win their region championship. And some of the other games around the area last night, it was Banks County in Region 8A Division 1. They were victorious last night over Providence Christian Academy. Much needed win for the Leopards of Banks County. And also Oglethorpe County is the surprise team in Class A this year as they defeated Commerce, and the Tigers winless on the season. That never has happened in Commerce history. They are winless this year under Coach Gregory in his first season as the head coach there at the Commerce Tigers. That's high school football from last night. Looking ahead to next week. Coming up next, we're going to try to talk a little fishing with Brandon Whitesides, who's our fishing expert here on Lake Lanier. Hopefully hear from him. And not, we'll have more for you coming up next. We'll get a chance to talk with Harper LaBelle, Dave Coyne, and much more still to come. We've got college and pro sports still to come here on 97.5 Glory FM with the Saturday Morning Sports Show online on our YouTube channel at Team Glory Sports.
It's kickoff time, Gainesville, and Hardy Chevrolet has the winning lineup you've been waiting for. From rugged Silverados to family-ready SUVs, our inventory is stacked for every game. And customer service, it's always first string. Visit Hardy Chevrolet at 2115 Brownsbridge Road, Gainesville, Georgia. Hardy Chevrolet, where you're always part of the hometown team. Together, let's drive.
Siphon Logistics' commitment is to provide you, the customer, with on-time pickup and delivery every time. Members of the Siphon family have been in the transportation business since 1984. The Siphon Logistics transportation professionals are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, providing maximum flexibility and options to produce the most successful shipping arrangements. Call Siphon Logistics at 770-287-8485 and take a look at their website at siphonlogistics.com.
Hey folks, this is Jeff Dale. Wanted to welcome you to Friday Night Football in North Georgia. The game is on tonight. I wanted you to know I'm in the game with an HVAC business called Optimum Mechanical. We specialize in residential and commercial HVAC. Service, replacement, new construction. Let us help you on your next project. Optimum Mechanical, 678-780-7251.
Sports Show 97.5 Glory FM. Just past 9:30. Mike Wofford with you here every Saturday morning talking high school, college, and pro sports. Let's go to the lake then. Let's see what's happening with Brandon Whitesides this morning. Hey, Brandon. You there, Brandon? Hey, Brandon. Well, you there? Hey, Brandon? I got you, buddy. You there, Brandon? All right. Let's see if we get you going in here. Yeah, I hope it should have Brandon Whiteside. Get through that. See, that's what happened. There we go. Okay, let's got that. Got the wrong button here. There we go. That should be Brandon there, I hope. All right.
You sound good on my end.
There you go. I had a button that was pushed there. I can see that's what happens. That's the live radio is the very best. So, how's it going this morning, buddy?
Well, speaking of buttons, I'm actually over here working on my boat this morning, just trying to get it ready for the cooler months, got the oil change going, things like that. So I understand buttons, Mike.
Absolutely. So you look at winterize. What you doing here this morning?
Well, if you have an outboard engine and you're going to use it regularly throughout the winter, unlike the colder states in the country, where you put fogging oil and you do all this stuff if the outboard's going to sit all winter. So I'm not doing a true winterization like you would do with an inboard. But when I say winterization, just making sure my fluids are topped off, sure. Oil is nice and clean. Tire, I got the tires inflated properly, and just get ready to, as it continues to cool off and that lake turnover, it's already started. Once it finalizes, around Thanksgiving, it'll be a little chilly in the mornings, but some of the best fishing is in the winter.
Well, I call him Captain Whiteside. He's our fishing expert here. So you've been going to any other lakes besides Lanier?
Man, I was thinking about going up and doing some fishing on Hartwell here in the next couple of weeks, but to answer your question, Mike, there's no place like home. We have the best striper and spotted bass fishery in the country, in my opinion, one of them.
Absolutely.
And it's why you have all these bass boats converging on Lake Lanier pretty much every weekend to the tune of 200 plus. For local tournaments, for just recreational fishing, it absolutely is a top-notch fishery.
So you don't go to any tournaments, do you?
Nah, I wish I had time, Mike. I fish some of the local tournaments, but with the corporate world and everything else I got going on, it's all I can do to get out and just catch them myself.
Oh yeah. So I know it's going to rain this week. How does that affect the conditions on the lake, you think?
Well, I can tell you, there's something you can fish, Mike, your whole life. You can do radio your whole life. You can play football your whole life, and it's never too late to keep learning. So, I mean, there is something, a light bulb went off in my head about how to deal with this lake turnover. Because, last couple of calls I explained it.
Yep.
As we get these cooler and cooler nights, cooler and cooler mornings, the surface temperature of the lake cools. That water becomes more dense. It sinks. And what it does is, as it sinks, it pushes up the water that sat on the bottom, all throughout the hotter months. And there's a lot of organic matter in that water, and the water quality is poor. So, again, if you guys didn't tune in the last week or two, those fish, as the experienced fishermen know, they're just cruising. They're on the constant move, so to say, looking for good quality water. And I said, you know what? I think back, Mike, probably 10 years ago, back when Google Earth came out. So like satellite images of the lake or wherever actually in the United States.
Sure.
And so, Mike, what I thought was, all right, these fish are looking for clean, oxygenated water. And some of the best oxygenated water is water that doesn't stagnate and can stratify. It's constantly moving, like in rivers and things like that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to open up Google Earth, and I'm going to zoom in to Lake Lanier, and what I'm going to look for is the creeks that have the biggest stain. Because the water, runs off the land, even if we have rain or not, you've got creeks feeding in. So I said to myself, if I can look at this Google Earth and I see some of the stained creeks, that's fresh water coming into the lake. It's going to have been moving at some point. It's going to be more oxygenated. And so this week, as in this past week, I'm going to focus on those areas and see if I can find the bait and find the fish. And sure enough, I don't want to say I've solved the lake turnover puzzle, but if you're a bass fisherman or a striper fisherman, I really encourage you to do that, because what you're going to see is, all right, you might not see it in 2 Mile Creek. You might not see it in Flat Creek. But if you go to the north, you might see it in Thompson Creek or, Latham Creek or whatever, going up the Chestatee River arm of Lake Lanier. But you want to look at that satellite image current of the lake, and I would focus on those creeks that have the biggest stain, because what's happening is while the water's stained, you've got fresh water coming into the lake, and it's going to be more oxygenated, and so the bait is going to love that incoming fresh water. It's not stagnant water that's turning over, and of course the predators are going to be right there with the bait.
Well, that's a biology lesson for you this morning. Also a physics lesson for you this morning with Brandon Whiteside. That's a very interesting thing to talk about. How about down toward Beaufort Dam? How's it down there?
Well, there's fish down there. There's a let's talk about striped bass. I mean, there's the spotted bass. They're structure oriented. They don't migrate a lot, but those striped bass, they're typically migrating based on time of the year, water temperature. In the summer, they're pretty much holed up on the south end of the lake, because that's where the coolest, most oxygenated water is. But
sure,
as the lake turns over and the overall surface temperature, the middle temperature of the water column, and of course the temperature at the bottom, near the floor of the lake, as all of that cools, the fish will start migrating, or there's a big population that will start migrating mid-lake and then all the way up to Gainesville, Lula,
oh wow,
all the way up to Dawsonville and things like that. But to answer your question, down there by the dam, there's the theory is, I mean, there's an older population of fish, and they just kind of hang out down there year round. Now, in the winter, they might not be out on the main Chattahoochee River channel or like in front of the dam. They will go to the back of Ball Ridge Creek. They will migrate to the back of Shoal Creek. So there's always going to be a population of fish that stays down there regardless of month of the year.
Well, I love talking, because as a novice, I would have thought the way the dam just churns the water up, that we might just, have more oxygenated water down that way, and you have some more fish down toward the dam. That's great information to know that they're moving northbound as the temperatures get cooler.
100%. And the thing is, you would think, all right, so, as they open up that dam, it generates the current. We talked about what that can do to fire up the summer bite. But the thing is the winter months, Mike, are typically our driest.
Right.
So they don't generate quite as much water as they might in the summer, where we get these afternoon storms and things like that. So, and they're talking about the farmer, Mike. For those of you who believe in his almanac, and some of the reports I've seen, we're going to have a drier than usual winter. And one report says it's going to be warmer than usual winter, which we've heard that and seen that for the last, 10 years. But then one model says, no, because of how cool it's been, even back in August, we're going to have a cold winter.
Oh, yeah. And I can sort of feel it in your bones from that standpoint. I think, was it 2 weeks we get daylight savings time ends, we get ready for standard time. I'll tell you what, look forward to talking to you next week.
Yeah, exactly. One last thing about that, these temperatures and all this, not to get political on the air, but with this climate change, I've always said, I've definitely noticed the climate has changed, but in terms of like predicting, Mike, they can't even predict the weather accurately for 1 week, nonetheless 100 years.
Oh, exactly. No doubt about that. All right, have fun with Lake Dave. We'll talk later, okay?
All right, man.
Appreciate it very much. That is Brandon Whiteside, Captain Whiteside, I call him, our fishing expert here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, let's talk about college and pro football action. We'll talk with, first off, Harper LaBelle about the Atlanta Falcons, and then we'll have more for you here on 97.5 Glory FM, your family radio station in North Georgia.
Custom window treatments can go a long way to making your house feel like a home. Call Millie's Drapery and Decorating today for the best in custom drapery, blinds, shades, and shutters. We can schedule for one of our designers to come out to your home, take measurements, and give you an estimate right there on site. That's Millie's Drapery and Decorating, 1732 Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, or give us a call at 770-532-3819.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
EMC Security.
Hey, it's Coach Mark Richt here. Everyone knows defense wins championships. And if you're not using EMC Security to defend your home and family, you need to step up your game. With EMC Security's no contract and local service, they are a clear number one. So give them a call or visit them online at emcsecurity.com. That's emcsecurity.com.
EMC Security. Smart protection for a safer tomorrow.
It's flu season in North Georgia, and now is the time to take care of yourself and get your flu shot at Riverside Pharmacy. No one's to be hit with the flu bug, but if you haven't had your shot yet and you've been bitten with the flu, the pharmacists at Riverside Pharmacy in Gainesville can help you too. They can fill your prescription with expert care and have you up and going before you know it. And they're your headquarters for all of your over-the-counter needs. Riverside Pharmacy across the street from City Park, serving Gainesville for over 60 years.
97.5 Glory FM, the Saturday Morning Sports Show, online at WGTJRadio.com with a live video stream on YouTube at Team Glory Sports. Let's go back the phones down and go down to Middle Georgia and talk with Harper Gabell. Hey, Harper.
Good morning, Mike. How was your game last night?
Oh, it was a great ball game last night. You missed a good one last night. North Hall and Lumpkin County. Trojans are going to win the region championship, and it was a big ball game last night, senior night. 27 seniors on the team for North Hall. So you see that veteran leadership, how important it is. And you see from what you're doing down there, you're getting ready for a college football game tonight, and the Falcons playing tomorrow night. You see how important that veteran leadership is to a team, you know it?
Well, and let's not forget the Los Angeles Dodgers end up getting to qualify for the World Series. Mike, I know we want to talk professional sports there. You know I'm a Dodgers fan.
Let's talk about that. How about old Tony last night? Did I hear right about him?
Too bad he turned on his bat and his pitching arm. I think he had a one-hitter, or he gave up one run early. But people have said he is the best player in baseball, and he kind of proved it last night. They were not pitching to him. They had a couple of intentional walks in the previous games in situations where it called for it. But, boy, if you're going to throw to that guy and make him mad, you know, he's always polite. Remember, he nods to the umpire before every at-bat, not just once a game. Every at-bat, he goes, hello, how are you? And he greets, and he's very polite. And, boy, can he hit a fastball and a curveball 450 feet. Goodness gracious.
Did I hear that he hit one out of the ballpark there at Dodger Stadium?
Well, I didn't see it. We were busy traveling, but nonetheless, yeah, that guy is he's amazing.
Well, you've been there. Can you imagine hitting one out of the ballpark there?
Well, I think Reggie Jackson and Willie Stargell and Mickey Mantle are the only two that I'm aware of. Giancarlo Stanton hit one on the top of the rafters in left field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's you got to be a full-grown man to do that, Mike. We're well past our prime in trying to hit a ball out of Dodger Stadium.
So the Dodgers going to the World Series, right?
Yeah, they had lost all 6 games after the All-Star break. They went to Milwaukee. They got swept. And then about a week, or maybe it was 10 days later, they were fairly soon in the schedule, early September, maybe late August, Milwaukee went to L.A. and swept them again. The Dodgers got swept by Bulls. So they were 0-6. And I'm thinking, this is going to be a 7-game series if the Dodgers even show up. And the Brewers pitching have been phenomenal, top 3 or 4 in every category.
Yep.
Their hitting is amazing. They were the hottest team in baseball after the All-Star break, best record in the league, and then they couldn't hit. They just forgot how to hit. Close games, but they lost them all and got swept. Now Dodgers get a couple days off to rest.
Yep, and who are they going to play, Seattle or Toronto?
Well, Seattle with a 3-2 game lead, and they got to go back to Toronto now. And they won both games in Toronto, but they got only 1 out of 3. The Blue Jays bats woke up. They have 14 runs the other night, so it'll be an interesting thing. And I think the whole country of Canada will watch, where only the Northwest. I'm not sure what the network people want, but they probably want Toronto to go. But
sure.
I'm kind of rooting for Seattle. They've never been before.
Oh, absolutely. That would be a tremendous series. I mean, it goes back to the days you remember when the A's and the Dodgers played back in the day. It'd be great to see the Mariners and the Dodgers play.
I think so. Good for baseball, if nothing else. The Cal Raleigh story with him hitting 62 or 3 home runs. He had a bomb last night, a solo shot. But they're a good team, and their fans especially. I mean, they are.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like going to a soccer or a college football game, watching them in a baseball park.
All right, how about football? How good a team is the Atlanta Falcons now? They're starting to show themselves when it comes to a primetime audience.
I'm going to go to Charles Dickens. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, right? We've seen both with the Falcons.
Yes, we have.
You give them a week off and give them a chance to prep for a really good Bills team, and they made them look like they didn't know what they were doing. Isn't it interesting how Josh Allen struggled and couldn't get rid of the ball on time, and he was missing guys, and just enough pressure to really force him into quicker decisions that, they had a chance there at the end, don't get me wrong, but, the Bills Mafia was there, and there were a lot of folks from Buffalo that wanted to be in Atlanta for that specific game and to do some damage to the Falcons, but turned out the other way around. So, good for the Falcons to get a 10-point win and some much-needed momentum going into San Francisco tomorrow.
But a short week, as you well know, because you played Monday night, then you're playing Sunday night, going to the West Coast. So, they probably left Thursday, didn't they?
Yeah, normally teams from the West Coast leave early. They'll leave on a Friday, but Falcons kind of doing it from east to west. You gain a couple hours, but nonetheless, because it's a night game. Here's my issue: even though it's a Sunday night game, they don't get back till 5 in the morning, if not later than that. So you really lose that day too. So that's the part that I don't like about these late night games. We'll have that tonight here with Georgia State. We'll roll back into Atlanta at 3, 4, maybe 5 in the morning, depending on how late the game goes tonight. I don't personally like them. I'd love to play every game at 1 o'clock, but the league and the networks don't want that. And occasionally when you get good and people want to watch you, you are forced into primetime games, which is nice that a lot of people watch you, but your rest is absolutely jeopardized.
We heard a figure last night. It was almost like, 30 straight days there had been some kind of football on television, whether it be college, pro, or even high school going on TV now. It's like a common thing now. Every day is a game to watch.
Well, they put a Tuesday and Wednesday night game on this past week.
Yes.
So I know the college, and Mike, this is a subject for another conversation, but I don't like the colleges going on Friday. I think that's the high school night, especially during the season. I think they should kind of keep that holy in their own way, but nonetheless, we don't make that decision. But,
that's true. They didn't ask you, and they should. No. Dave.
But Nebraska and Minnesota, they play a good game last night. There was about 4 or 5 others. I think Miami lost.
Yes, to Louisville.
They were at home against Louisville.
Yes. And that just shows you on any given day.
Yeah, the networks love having those games on, but the kids, the coaches.
Oh my!
Give me an extra day to prepare because we don't know how many kids have injuries. How many guys are hurt and having some issues. But I guarantee you this: Falcons will go into San Francisco with a team that has been beat up for years.
Oh sure.
And no different there. They lose Fred Warner. They got Bosa out. A couple of their wide receivers. Purdy's still out. Christian McCaffrey's there and Trent Williams, but everybody else seems to have a nick or a bruise or whatever, and the Falcons go in limping with wondering whether or not Jake Matthews is going to be there. So every team has got a little bit of injury issues.
All right, so let the listener know what's going on. It's okay. Brock Purdy has a hurt toe. Then they say, okay, man up, you got a hurt toe. Come on, play. But at the same time, from a quarterback, you being a former long snapper, but the thing about getting the ball from the center, having to do a 3-step, 5-step, plus drop back, or you get forced out of the pocket, the feet are one of the most important things you got going for you.
So probably one of the greatest linebackers in the history of the game, Jack Lambert, had to retire because of turf toe. And here's the guy that said the quarterbacks should wear dresses, and the toughness of the league is epitomized in a guy that was as mean and with his teeth out. He looked like Dracula. It was fantastic, right? He's just the image of what you would want in an inside linebacker.
Thank you.
But here's the reason, Mike, to be anything less than a doctor. All the nerve endings that you have are in your fingers, your ears, and your toes.
Yep.
And so when you go to stop even on grass, but especially on sport turf or the old AstroTurf in the day, your foot still goes forward a little bit, but if your shoe is planted into the ground and will not move, your feet are still moving forward. They've got nowhere to go.
Yep.
So the pressure that is from the wall of a layer of your shoe at the front, you can't go anywhere, but your foot's still moving forward, and something's got to give, and it's usually a knuckle in either your big toe or your second toe.
Ooh, that hurts.
And the nerve ending, it is excruciating. Going back to pass or doing side shuffles doesn't hurt at all. But if you walk forward and have to stop and re-injure that, it just takes your nerves forever to be able to heal up to the point where you feel good enough just to walk. And then to put a cleat on and to do your sport activities. It's not the backward stuff. It's going forward that hurts like crazy. So they'll probably design a special shoe for him. But as much as anything, Mike, you just got to wait. You got to sit and let your body heal, and that does not happen with nerves overnight. It's a very slow recovery.
And I respect Brock Purdy to death. He has been such a great quarterback, but he's been so injury-prone that problem with his elbow that he had, and now with the toe. So the thing is, a lot of times right place, right time, right man. Mac Brown didn't work, up in New England, and now is he resurrected there with the 49ers?
Sure, yeah. You get with a new coach in a different environment. Unlike Justin Fields, who's still struggling there with the Jets, some coaches get a chance to move around. Some coaches get a new guy, or a guy gets a new coach, and why are you throwing over there? Well, I've thrown there my whole life. Don't throw there. Throw to this guy. And they get a new perspective, and a lot of times it really works. And you get in Kyle Shanahan's office and sit around and talk to that guy for a couple minutes, and you'll come away going, man, I'm going to learn a lot about the game of football from him. So good for Kyle and the 49ers and John Lynch for putting the roster together that seems to be able to survive. Everyone except for Arizona is 4-2 in that division right now. So the Rams, the Seahawks at 4-2, and then the 49ers. It's a logjam.
And the Falcons got to be the underdog tomorrow night because of the short weekend since playing on Sunday night and playing out there on the West Coast at Santa Clara against the 49ers, even with a backup quarterback. And Mac Brown's not your typical backup quarterback.
Well, you get 200 yards out of Bijan, and Michael Penix looks good, so I don't know if they're the underdogs. It's just, and more than anything, it's the defense, especially up front, is putting some pressure on your quarterbacks. And that's the reason why I'm going, I don't mind it not being the underdog, being the favorite every now and then. Once those guys start believing it, and Raheem Morris and the rest of the crew are able to build the confidence, you'll see a completely different energy coming from the team.
You'll see Bijan do the job again. He could be the face of the whole ball club, can't he?
He ran into a spot that only a few people can run into and get out of it. He had a sweep, the one that he scored on, where at the time he's 2 steps behind. They freeze frame the action, and there's a guy there on offense. There's another guy that's right next to him, 2 or 3 guys on defense, and he's running right towards him, and it's almost as if the parting of the Red Seas. He knew exactly where they were going, where their momentum was going to be, and where the offensive guy was going to push somebody. And and it's open. And next thing you know, 67 yards later, he's got a touchdown. It's amazing watching him run.
All right, to that state, not Southern, here on 97.5 Glory FM. Have a great broadcast. When we talk to Dave coming next week, okay?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, appreciate it very much. That is Harper Mabell talking NFL football with us here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll preview tonight's ball game, State and Southern, here on 97.5 Glory FM.
This is Representative Lee Hawkins, your representative to the state legislature. I want to wish all the local athletes in our area the very best this season. Your team is very important to the success of our community, and I look forward to seeing you play this year and to see what you accomplish in the classrooms and in the community. I also look forward to serving you and your family in the state legislature. This message paid for by the committee to re-elect Lee Hawkins.
Whether it's on the football field or planning for retirement, it's important to have the right team around you to succeed. I'm Alex Sherman, quarterback for the North Hall Trojans. While I'm not throwing touchdowns, my family is assisting clients with their financial planning needs. Are you looking to retire soon, receiving an inheritance, selling a business, or simply have questions about the market? The team at Sullivan & Schlimming Wealth Management is here to help. Reach out to us to make sure you and your family are surrounded by a winning team. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, we're back on the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM, live video stream on YouTube at Team Glory Sports. And he's handed off the phone to Dave Cohen, the voice of Georgia State, getting ready for college football now tonight with Georgia State and Georgia Southern. Hey, David.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I am great. So I know you're getting ready for one of your favorite nights going down to Statesboro.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this game. It's homecoming in Statesboro for Georgia Southern. They're not having a great year. What are they, 2-4? We're not having a great year. We're 1-5. Both schools are 0-2 in Sun Belt Conference play. And I know it's a cliche, but it is true. In rivalry games like this, throw the records out. They're going to have a great crowd. Hopefully it'll be great weather in Statesboro tonight, minus all the gnats. And it'd be great if Georgia State could come out, get off to a good start, not find themselves in a situation where they're playing catch-up football, and finally put together, as close to a complete game as possible with regards to offense, defense, and special teams. It's been usually one or the other so far. The offense will look good, and the defense can't stop anybody. The defense has a pretty good game, as they did against James Madison, and the offense couldn't score. From a kicking game and special team standpoint, we're struggling in that area, whether the offense is on or the defense is on. But it'd be great to put together a really complete game, as complete game as possible, considering who they're playing tonight.
Oh, absolutely. So, David, you go back to the glory days of Georgia Southern, how they ran the football. State's got to start rushing the football more.
Yeah, Georgia State right now, Mike, average just over 90 yards rushing the football on the ground. And, you just go back the last three games. 32 yards rushing at Vanderbilt. 37 yards rushing against James Madison. Turned out to be a 54-yard rushing afternoon in the loss to Appalachian State. Only 7 rushing yards in the entire first half. So is that on the running backs? Is that on the offensive line? Well, it's probably
yes, it is.
Probably lay the blame, a little bit of the blame at both. But I think the O-line needs to really come out and have maybe the best game that they've played so far this season, and give the running backs like a Rashad Amos, a Branson Robinson, if he plays Jordan Simmons, DJ Braswell, give them an opportunity to run the football.
Sure.
But we'll see. I mean, that's why they play the game. Like I said, Georgia Southern and Georgia State, no matter what the records are, get up to play one another, whether it's in Atlanta or whether it's in Statesboro. So I'm just hoping that Georgia State comes out and hopefully plays their best game of the season so far, Mike. It'd be really nice to come back, nice to get on I-16 and get out of the borough with a W.
All right, so real quick, give me about 30 seconds here. Cam Brown starting tonight?
Well, my guess is that the answer to that will be yes. He really gives Georgia State that Darren Granger-like offensive outlook. I mean, his passing completion rate right now is 63%. He's accounted for 7 touchdowns when he's been in there. He has not thrown an interception. He's rushed the ball 23 times and has 2 rushing touchdowns. He brings an element that T.J. Finley just doesn't bring, and that's the ability to run the ball.
All right, that is State, not Southern this evening, 6:30 p.m. here on 97.5 Glory FM. This is WGTJ, Murrayville, Gainesville, at W248DL, Murrayville, Gainesville. That's the Saturday Morning Sports Show.